Does morality and do morals really exist? You heard the phrase, it's all point of view, and the truth can be versionized by everybody, and everybody has a version of truth. And you've heard it, and you have some ethic code in your brain which makes you act to certain things. Like you think the murder is wrong, and you think stealing is wrong, lying is wrong, and you think murdering is only wrong. When you're in a country and this country has some rules, but murdering is not wrong or killing is not wrong, and we use terms like being neutralized. We don't consider them wrong when it is in the name of the government or the military, or when we kill another national person. We don't consider this as murder, but something to be cherished about, and we celebrate people. We celebrate the soldiers which had the deed, which killed another person. They can belong to another race, but they still are humans. We celebrate them. We give them some awards and some prizes, and we tell they did a good job. They might have lost a limb, they might have lost someone from family, but we still celebrate this fact. We celebrate because it is related to our survival. So if our survival instincts are gearing towards us killing other people which belongs to other nations, we say this is something good and this is something that we should be cherish. But if this killing takes place in our country, and if this killing makes the population and society have fear, and fearsome evenings, they fear the deed and they fear if something is going to happen to them, we condemn it. I think both of them are wrong. Killing someone in the name of the nation, in the name of military, is wrong, and killing someone in the name of our own opportunistic desires, let's say killing our neighbor, someone that we know or someone we don't know, let's say someone killed them and took their money, this will ensure their survival, the money will ensure their survival, and we think this is wrong. Just think about the Albert Camus, and he had a guy which he murdered, an Arabic guy, and the French court condemned him to execution. They executed him because he committed murder, but the point was not the murder, and they would consider this as self-defense if the guy showed some remorse and if the guy wasn't an outsider. It's because of he was an outsider he was executed. So you see, the morale and ethics and the code can be different for people, and it's all up to, and it depends on the view of the judge. And if the judge and the jury deems this as murder, not self-defense, he gets a punishment. And if they deem it as self-defense, he might even had some praise for courage he showed. I think this kind of thinking brings us to conditions which we are currently suffering. Look at the Russia, look at the Ukraine. This kind of thinking, we do have terms like greater good, and some people do believe this. Some people will say, if you want to make an omelette, you have to break some eggs. I'm quoting Tyler Durden here. But some dudes, some gals do really have this kind of mindset. And they believe if we are to make an example, and if we are to make the future brighter and have secured future, we shouldn't be afraid to break some eggs, meaning other people's lives. I think this is wrong. I think this is wrong because this leads to chaos, and everybody will say, this is my justice, this is my point of view of the world, and this is my code, so why shouldn't I be acting on this? Because when you break those rules, and when you apply the rules, when you have a double standard, you don't have people saying the system is moving smooth, the system is moving perfectly, and therefore we should be rooting for the system. And people will take the things on their hands, and they will try to justify their actions by saying, this helped me, this would help the society, this would help to our community, therefore we did this, therefore we beat them, therefore we kill them. And they will be perceived as heroes for some people. Some people will perceive them as heroes, and this is wrong, because if we don't deal with a code, if we don't deal in an ethic, and if we don't deal in the general, as general ethics, if we don't deal, everybody will take matters to their own hands, and this can be very, very dangerous. I don't say having different kind of views is bad. I never say that. I think having different kinds of views is something to be cherished and something to be encouraged, but this is entirely different. What I mean is, you can't take the things on and deal with your own way. Something should be common. Like, murder is wrong, point. And no one will try to justify killing another person and by saying that was for the greater good, and this will benefit to our society, this will protect our children and protect them from dying. Like, let's say there's a train moving towards to 5 people, and you have the handle, you can use the handle, and the handle will make the train turn right, but there is also one person. Would you use the handle to save that one person, save that 5 person, but you using handle will lead you to kill that one person. You will be responsible for their death. And some other guy can say, you not using the handle will result in 5 people to die. So you are responsible of 5 people's death. And this is a complex subject, but what I'm saying, if we don't deal in a common ethical guide in the things like the matters, life or death, we will always live in a society, in a world that will have punishment for only some people. And if you have read Dostoevsky, the Crime and Punishment, if you have read the Crime and Punishment, the main character, Raskolnikov, claims like there are some code, there are some punishment for some certain people, and for some people this will not work. Like Napoleon, he killed millions of people, and he was perceived as an emperor, and he was perceived as a hero. He wasn't until some point, he was punished later, but until some point when he lost his rule, when he lost his power, until losing his power, he was perceived as a hero to his country. And look at the Hitler, he was perceived as a hero until he lost his power. And what I'm saying is, if you have this kind of worldview, you can sacrifice other people in the name of greater good, and this will result in future. This will prevent future catastrophes, and you're just playing into their hands like people to be Hitler and Napoleon. If they didn't have the support of their people, they wouldn't be this powerful, and they couldn't cause this immense amount of casualties. So it is very nice to have different point of view, but we should be dealing, and I mean this in a global scale. We should deal in some aspects. We should deal in the aspects of life and death, because if we don't, we will just be rooting for ourselves, and it will be, I'm telling you this, it will be temporary, and this will bite you. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but perhaps 10 years later. This will bite you, and you will not be benefiting, but you will be getting harm from the very system you have defended 10 years ago, very system you have rooted for 10 years ago. Murder is murder everywhere, and it doesn't change if you're Napoleon or if you are if you're someone that was perceived as hero. Murder is murder. You're killing another person, even if they don't belong to their race, is still murder, and it's not something to be cherished about. It's something to be, perhaps you should be feeling guilty, and you shouldn't be cherishing it because you are murdering another human being, another human fellow. It's very bad. You should think about it. Everybody should think about having some kind of morals to them. And this kind of morals should be equal and should be accepted, should be dealt with, even if you don't belong to their race. So this philosophical debate is hard to think about, but it's not very hard if you think about it in a way, and if you think about and if you perceive the world in the ways perhaps Albert Camus and Dostoevsky perceived the world. They were giants, and they still are affecting, they still do have their vision on the world, and their vision of the world is still affecting the way we live. And they had it right. They had it right, and we should all be expanding our minds on the shoulders of the giants. This is it for this video. I'll get to see you in the next video. Take care and goodbye.